on a 9x zoom onto that pine tree over there. Okay. That's my Samsung. That's what that pine tree looks like on my phone. So I'm going to aim at that same pine tree through my scope. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So I'm aiming at that same pine tree with my scope, filming it through the Tactacam at 10 power. So this is through my scope at 10 power. I want to see what that Tactacam. Why you keep pushing me, sweet bubba? I'm gonna see what it looks like through the Tactacam versus through the cell phone. Alright, let's get this paused and check it out. Let me see if I can focus in on one of those pine cones. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So I'm aiming at that same pine tree with my scope, filming it through the Tactacam at 10 power. So this is through my scope at 10 power. I want to see what that Tactacam. Why you keep pushing me, sweet bubba? I'm gonna see what it looks like through the Tactacam versus through the cell phone. Alright, let's get this paused and check it out. Let me see if I can focus in on one of those pine cones. So if you're a mil dot guy, to judge the distance here, that pine cone is a mil dot and a half. So yeah, mil dot and a half, almost 2 mil dots for the pine cone. So depending on how many inches a pine cone is times 27.78, that would be the length, the distance. You know, divide that by the number of mil dots, and that would give you your distance that this pine cone is away from me. So a mil dot and a half would give it. I'm just going to focus in on one of these little birds over here, see what they look like. The scope, if I can get one of them in my sights. There's one. There's a little bird. See if we can focus down on him. There. Got him in good focus there. So I don't have any pellets or nothing. I ran out of pellets. I don't really shoot birds anyway, though. I like shoot squirrels and groundhogs. Thank you, sweet bubble. So this is up to like 14. I'm gonna take it up to full power. And that's my scope at full power. You see him crystal clear there. A little bird. Sweet bubble. What are you trying to give me? I lost him. What are you trying to give me? Oh. Sweet bubble. Come on now.
Baby.
Baby. Focus in on now. So I'm spying on the birds there. Alright guys, so in conclusion, when I look back at the Tactacam video, it seems the further out that an object is, the less you see of what I'm seeing through the scope. Like, I did a shot where I was looking at a pine tree, and I'm looking at the pine cone, and I can clearly see the pine cone to the point of where I can mill dot the pine cone. And when I'm looking at the Tactacam, I barely see the mill dots, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to mill dot that pine cone from where the Tactacam is. So it's like the quality of the image degrades the farther you go out. I'm thinking that pine tree is about 83 yards out. Then there's the footage of the bird, and the footage of the bird is kind of like the same deal. I'm seeing the bird, like I can mill dot the bird. It's like I'm right on the bird and with the magnifying glass when I'm looking through the scope. And then when I look back at the footage, you know, I barely, I can see the bird pretty clearly, but it's not what I'm seeing through the scope. So I don't know why that is, but the camera just, it's not a good reflection of what the scope sees. The scope is dead awesome, and then the camera, what you're seeing through the Tactacam is, it's like, I don't know. It's better when the distance isn't far. Like that bird was only about 20 yards away, and I was using 28 times power on that shot. And that's what you were seeing. And what I was seeing was like a bird 20 yards away, and you're using 20 times power. If you use a scope, you probably know what I'm talking about, but if you're not used to looking through a scope at 28 times power, I'm talking about a top of the line scope, then you won't know what I'm talking about. But the Tactacam, I think it'll work out. I think I don't want to go any further than 50-yard shots with it, or you really won't be able to make out what's going on. Whereas I'd say from 50 yards in, it'll probably do a good job, but you would have to be at max power while filming, you know. So if I'm at like 10 power, you barely seen the bird at 10 power. Whereas at 28, then you see the bird like less than what I see at 10 power. At 10 power, I seen the bird better than what the Tactacam was showing the bird at 28 power. So you gotta keep the scope up high, and at the same time, you gotta keep the scope's distance closer. Although I didn't take a distance shot at 28 power. When I was filming the pine cone, I was only at about 10 power. But you know, so the Tactacam, I like it. It does good shots. I will have to look at that shot again at 28 power to the pine cone to see what it looks like. But as far as what I was seeing, I think the Tactacam, you need really high magnification, and you don't want to go out too far. You know, you don't want to be out 100 yards. It's really a good camera for a pellet gun, because I'm not going to be shooting that far anyway. You know, I'm going to be taking 25, 50-yard shots. I won't be taking any 100-yard shots probably, as long as I'm shooting pellets. But once I get some slugs, I might shoot some birds at 100 yards. I don't know that you could take a squirrel at 100 yards, even with a slug. So that would be something I have to check on. I only have 22 caliber. But that's what it is. Footage coming soon.